I'm often asked how to get taxes, not just income taxes, but regular type taxes like stamp duties, things like import duties, things like this. How do you get that close to zero? Well, remember, every country is going to have taxes. I mean, I had somebody saw one of these videos one time. He said that Cayman Islands didn't have any taxes. He meant to say income taxes, I'm sure, but Cayman Islands has real high taxes, okay? They just don't have an income tax, a capital gains tax, a state tax, inheritance tax. But they make it on other ways. And they make it off fees from setting up businesses there and keeping a business going, corporate fees. They can have some very, very high fees. They're just not income taxes. Even St. Kitts has high import duties. We have import duties as high as around 80% on bringing cars in. I mean, it's incredible the fees that when you add in what you end up having to pay. Like I get a car over in Japan for $400. You can get these ones that Japan has to get rid of after so many mileage that's on the car or time that you've had the car. And you could pick them up for $400. By the time you bring them into St. Kitts, it's around 7,000 US. By the time you ship it, all the duty that's on it. So I'm going to tell you ways that you can actually get close to zero, okay? And believe it or not, it's not, in most cases, it's not going to be through a pure tax haven, okay? The reason I tell this to people, because people don't understand really how taxes work in a lot of cases, and they end up jumping into a country and then they don't realize that they could have paid taxes and maybe in a country, or less taxes in a country that actually had higher taxes than a pure tax haven. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You have basically three types of tax systems. You've got one that, actually four types of tax systems. You got one that's a pure tax haven, one that's a non-dom tax system, and you got a territorial tax system. And then you've got a tax system where a country taxes you based on worldwide income. Now, each one of these have their benefits depending on what you're doing. What you're going to find out in most cases, though, is a territorial tax system and a non-dom tax system. Overall, on all taxes, if you pick the right country in the system, you can actually end up paying less in overall taxes than a pure tax haven. Okay, let me give you an example why. Panama is a good example. Okay, Panama has got an income tax that's actually pretty high. It's in the 20s, upper 20s. Okay, and Panama, you can live there totally tax-free. Okay, if your income is made outside the country. And it used to be Panama only had like a 5% sales tax. I don't know exactly what it is now, but it was around 5%. So, you know, that's, and you can live there. Other than the sales tax, you can live there virtually totally tax-free, okay? Now, and let's take another one like a non-dom type, a non-domicile type country. A non-dom country taxes you based on remitted income. But there are some countries where you can remit money in. Like Malta, you can remit in money that's capital gains from a sale on either an equity or a property, whatever, overseas. And if it's a capital gain, you can bring that in totally tax-free. Now, Malta is not one of my favorite choices, and I'm not going to get into Malta. You can look at the other videos on why that's not my favorite choice on a non-dom. But I'm going to give you the country that I feel like is my best choice in the video. But this is the key right here. Non-domicile type countries actually can be incredibly tax efficient, even a lot more so than pure tax havens. And the reason I say this is a non-dom country is trying to attract foreigners that are coming in. And when these foreigners come in, they give them special treatment that they don't give to people that are nationals that are locals there, that actually were born in that country. And those people, they're forced to where they have to have the domicile in that particular country if they were born there. If you're a foreigner coming in, you don't have that. You have a choice whether you want to make that your domicile or not your domicile. And the great thing about it is when you have that system and it's not a pure tax haven, then you're going to have to have taxes somewhere else if there's not an income tax. Now, non-dom countries like Ireland, other countries like Cyprus, Malta, the UK, Barbados, countries like this that have a non-dom type system, they actually make their money from people that are there locally, okay, that have the domicile in that country. That's good for you though, because they're the ones that's paying the tax, not you, okay? Now, when you have a pure tax haven, then they're going to have to make up for the income tax somewhere else. And they're going to hit everybody with import duties, stamp duties, just fees here and there. And so everything's going to cost you more to live there. Non-dom countries, you don't have that, but you can also live totally tax-free. And I'm talking about almost clear of all taxes, okay? You might have a little bit of sales tax, but that's it. As long as you don't remit the money in, or you remit money in that they allow that would not be taxed, okay? I'll give you some examples of this in a minute. But the reason I'm saying this is it can be a lot cheaper to live in a territorial tax system in a non-dom country and still not pay any income tax than you would in a pure tax haven, okay? And I'm going to tell you who my best choice is. I did a video on this the other day, but I'm actually considering getting another residency leading up to a passport there. And I'll tell you why I like this country the most, and that's Barbados. I've looked at this country. I'm real picky on countries, as you know. I do a lot of criticizing on countries, and you hear probably more critical stuff than anything. But I like Barbados, and I'll tell you why I like this country so much. It taxes worldwide income, but you can totally avoid it as a non-dom coming in. And a lot of countries, once you get citizenship, the non-dom status ends, okay? You don't have that with Barbados, which I'll get into that in a minute. But you can get your taxes right at zero, but then everything else is cheaper because, they've got an income tax, but you're not paying it. Someone else is paying it, okay? Because you're a foreigner. You're coming in and you're under these exceptional programs that they're throwing the red carpet out to. Okay, so and you would think that the people that were born there, they would treat them better, but that's not the case. Okay, the U.S. is another example. It's not a non-dom country, but you can go in and invest in equities in the U.S. and they don't have a capital gains tax to foreigners. They do for people living there locally, and that's a problem that if you're national or if you live in the U.S. But if you're a foreigner, you can, as long as you don't come into the U.S. and reside there and you invest in equities in the U.S., you're not a resident, you're not a citizen, there's no capital gains tax on equities. So they're treating foreigners a lot better than they are people that are nationals that are living there. So, and these countries are just a handful. There's tons of other countries that have other deals that offer foreigners a lot better deal. Now, also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do three things. Hit the subscribe button at the right of your screen right here and the notification bell next to it. And you'll get these new videos automatically every day. Number two is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And number three is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. So why did I come up with Barbados, okay? Barbados, the things like I mentioned to you before that I look for countries that have good health care. I look for countries that where I can speak the language, okay, that allows dual citizenship, that you don't have to learn a language to get the passport, and you don't have to relinquish your other citizenship programs. Panama is a bad choice for that. They don't allow dual citizenship. You have to relinquish your other passports. You have to speak Spanish to get the passport because you're going to have to be proficient in Spanish. There's a test you have to take. There's a lot of negatives in there. And I'll tell you something, as I mentioned to people before, I'll tell you something, learning a second language is so time consuming. It takes up so much of your time. But you don't have this with Barbados. And the thing about Barbados is someone else is paying the tax. You're coming in as a non-dom. Okay, so all these taxes that normally would be high in a pure tax haven are not high there because there is an income tax there, okay? And they tax worldwide income. They just don't do it to you if you know how to avoid it, okay? That's the key. So that gets all your taxes down a lot lower because they've been able to make those taxes up somewhere else, but someone else is paying it, okay? Now that might sound self-centered, but I mean, that's what you're looking for. Now, there are three ways that you can actually get, and I did a little bit on Barbados one day, but there are facts here I want to give you that you need to know. that I didn't go out before and give you. And that is, there's 3 ways that you can get residency in Barbados. Okay, one is you can actually invest in a property, which is $2 million US, and then you have to show a net worth around $5 million outside of that. Okay, most people are not going to qualify for that, although most of our clients that get citizenship by investment would, because their net worth is usually it's not under $5 million US dollars, and some of them are way, way, way over that. Okay. But if you want a place where you don't have to go in and sink a bunch of money in a property, okay, and you don't have to show a net worth of at least $5 million, there is an option, a second option they give, and that is you can set up a company, and you can get a company set up outside, whether it's a Seychelles company, a St. Vincent company, neither which tax income outside the country of their jurisdiction, and then you can live in Barbados on a non-dom status. And you can bring in income from dividend income, all tax-free. Now, the salary, you would have to pay yourself a salary, but there is a limit to what you can make in Barbados and not pay any income taxes, and that could be your salary. Then everything else you pay in dividends, okay? Now, but let me give you a third example, which is even better than the first 2. And that is, there is what's called an exceptional person exemption. Okay, these are people. An exceptional person is somebody who can get residency in Barbados, without having to set up a company there in Barbados or having to buy any type of property there, and basically you can live there and be there tax free. Okay. Now, dividends, the way you actually bring in money is you bring in dividend income, and that is exempt from taxes. So that's another way you can do that. Now, but everything else, see, spending on food and clothes and stuff like that, you don't have these import duties like you would in a tax haven, a pure tax haven. So you end up saving overall. The key thing is getting your taxes down as low as you can on everything, on every type of tax you can think of. And an exceptional person, you can get that, and all you basically need to do is have a college degree, and there are other exceptions too they give for that type person. But what that does is it can get your taxes down literally lower than a pure tax haven. Now, if you're going there, another thing I like about Barbados too is if you're looking to try to get the passport, you can get the passport actually pretty quick. When I say quick, it's you're looking at 7 years before you can apply for the passport. But the big key is, it's pretty predictable. Okay, I've talked to people who've actually gotten the passports, and it's very, a lot more predictable than places like Panama. Now, again, it's English speaking. That's a big key thing that I like. And non-dom status is allowed, even if you get citizenship in Barbados, as long as you keep your old passport. In other words, if you've got a U.S. passport and you've got a St. Kitts passport, you're really better off giving up the U.S. passport. But if you've got a St. Kitts passport, you're better off just using that as your domicile for St. Kitts. And then you get the Barbados passport, but Barbados is not the place that in the back of your mind you think about being buried, because non-dom means basically you're not planning on being buried in that place, okay? Your non-domicile status origin is the place that you plan to be buried, and then when you die and pass away. So if you do away with the St. Kitts passport, and you only have one passport, that's Barbados, and that's going to have to be your domicile, and then you're going to be taxed on your worldwide income. So this is how you do this, and you structure it right. But your overall taxes is going to be a lot lower if you go this option like I'm showing you how to prepare for. And one thing that I like too about Barbados too is it's a CARICOM country like St. Kitts does. St. Kitts is a CARICOM country just like Barbados. So what happens is you get a lot of the benefits. There are loads of benefits. I don't even have time to give them to you today, but there's loads of benefits that you have when you go to another country, and and those countries are all in the CARICOM. You have all kinds of working type benefits. You have all types of benefits in setting up companies. There's just all kinds of things that you can do. if your country is a CARICOM country, and then you go to another one. And St. Kitts and Barbados are both part of the CARICOM. So these are some really key things that I would be looking for. And of course, the visa-free or visa-free on arrival in Barbados, it ties with St. Kitts with 162 countries and territories visa-free or visa-free on arrival. And one thing that's nice about Barbados that you don't have with St. Kitts is it got visa-free travel to Canada. It's the only one in the Caribbean that has visa-free travel to Canada. And that's a big benefit. St. Kitts used to have it, Antigua had it, but they lost it. Barbados never has lost theirs. I think one of the reasons why was because of the fast track program. They're trying to get it back, but they don't have it back yet. But Barbados does have that visa-free travel to Canada. So, also you've got Barbados is way out of the hurricane belt. I think the last major hurricane where one hit direct was in the 1950s. I was talking to a tax lawyer in Barbados. So it's got all these benefits, and the weather and the beaches there, man, it's just incredible. Like I said before, it's got good health care, and these are the things that I would be looking for when you're looking for a second passport. And like I said, 7 years before you get the passport, but it's predictable. A lot of these other countries in Central and South America, they give you time periods, but they are not predictable. I've talked to people who've gotten it in Barbados, and they're right on the money. It's very good, and its predictability is excellent. If you want to know more on this, folks, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and hit the top button that says apply with us. Hit the bottom button that says send it to us, and we deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And number two is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And number three is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Take care.